So, Julia, you're from Turkmenistan initially.
Yeah,
Where at in Turkmenistan are you from?
the capital, Ashgabat.
Okay, so just for reference, I really knew nothing about Turkmenistan
Right.
before, and I still don't know very much, before sort of January of this year when I started looking at the Mongol Rally route. Um, or more in depth, like where would I need to get visas if I wanted to go on the trip, yada yada.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about the country.
Okay, so Turkmenistan is population-wise, it's a small country. I think it was like 4 million. Yeah, I think about 4 million back in the day.
Okay.
So we've got lots of space because we've got Karakum Desert, which is inhabitable. We've got lots of natural resources like gas and oil. So, and we've got, I think, one of the agricultural thing we do is the produce cotton.
Produce what now?
Cotton. Cotton?
Oh, cotton. Cotton. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so we will grow it, whatever needs to be done with it, and then produce the stuff from it.
Okay.
So I think that's the main thing. And also, I think we are famous for our horses.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Turkmenistan and then Mongolia as well has
Yeah.
like maybe small, like very shaggy horses, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Um, I'm not sure about small, but
Oh,
to be
they're
honest,
so big.
I'm not an expert, but yeah, that's what people were saying always, that our horses were quite good. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right. Well, and so tell me about your transition from living in Turkmenistan. When did you move out of Turkmenistan? Did you go
That
for
was,
school?
yeah, that was ages ago, to be honest. I've been living in London for over 10 years. So yeah, I initially came here to study, and then I found work and got married and decided to stay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how long in school, how old were you when you moved out of Turkmenistan?
28.
Okay. All right. All right.
Not
Um,
a child.
say it again.
Not a child.
Yeah. No, no, no. No, of course not.
Yeah.
Um, Well, how do you think, like culturally, what kind of things from Turkmenistan did you bring with you to the UK?
What did I bring?
Like, is
Well,
there different types of food that you love to cook that are very
well,
traditional Turk?
well, yes. I think one of the traditional dishes would be a pilaf, which is sort of, I think, main dish for the whole Central Asia. You know, all the Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and what have you. So yeah, I think I would be cooking that a lot, especially at the beginning. But yeah, now I don't know. It's kind of hard to, because you have to incorporate everything, in your lifestyle, and what you like, what your husband likes, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I still like it, but I probably don't cook it as much.
Right. Do you still have family in Turkmenistan?
I do, yeah, I do. My,
Okay.
my parents are still there, and lots of other relatives.
Do you go back pretty frequently? I don't know
Uh,
how easy it is to like go in and out of Turkmenistan.
yeah, it's quite easy. We have a direct flight, so our Turkmen Airlines are flying, and there is a direct flight which is about 7 hours. Uh, Quite a long flight. I don't like it, but yeah, I don't go that often. But my mom comes quite a lot here.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Wonderful. And
Mhm.
does she like London?
She likes it, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So, talk to me about the terrain of Turkmenistan. You were talking about a desert, which is like uninhabitable land. Um,
yeah,
but is there? It looks to be a pretty good sized country. I mean, it's not
yeah.
humongous, but it's pretty big. So, like,
Yeah.
there are also mountains, or maybe like walk me through if we were there together. maybe you take me on a little tour, and what would we do?
Right. Yeah. So if we're there, so Ashgabat is the capital. Obviously, is the sort of the main city. There are other smaller cities. So the second biggest probably would be Turkmenistan, which is on Caspian Sea. So that's where everyone would go during summer period, and it's amazing. Oh my God, I miss it. Yeah. Although during summer, the weather, the temperature gets quite high. So it could be 40, 45. So
Okay.
Celsius. Uh, so if, let's say, if we are there together, so I probably would give you two choices. So we could go and see ancient ruins. So the place called, I don't think it's quite far from Ashgabat, maybe about 30 kilometers, if I remember correctly. So it's called Nisa, and it's from Parthian Empire, about 250 BC.
Okay.
So it was a major place in the Parthian Empire, and it's been destroyed during earthquake. So I think all you would see now probably a few walls and bricks and stuff.
Yeah, but that'd still be pretty cool. I love that stuff because it just
Oh, did you? Yeah,
it makes me feel so young and
yeah,
small, you
yeah.
know? Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes it could be really amazing. Yeah, I love that stuff too.
right.
Yeah, or another choice would be so as I said, we have a lots of gas and oil. So there was a huge gas resource found in Karakum Desert. I think it's about maybe 200 and something kilometers from Ashgabat. So it was found in 1970s, and so the place has collapsed, and the geologists decided to burn it, to set it on fire, so it sort of burns out because it was producing methane gas,
Okay.
if I say it correctly. So something poisonous. So, and they expected it to burn out quite quickly within a few weeks, but it's still burning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's huge. It's so the diameter is about 60 meters, and the depth about 30. So it's huge.
Okay. And it's
So
this big hole that's on fire?
yeah. So it collapsed. Yeah, it collapsed, and it's still burning. It's like a huge crater on fire.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I think I've seen pictures of this before.
Yeah, yeah. So
Interesting.
I've never been there, but yeah.
Are you supposed to go close to that?
To be honest, I don't know. Speaking the truth, I've only found out about that when I wasn't there anymore. So when I was living in London. But so what I've seen on the internet, they trying to promote the place, so the tourists can come and see it. But I probably wouldn't think that you can come very close.
Yeah, right. If it was like burning off toxic gases.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, there is something sort of similar to that in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
It's called Centralia. Granted, it's not a hole that's still burning, but supposedly the underneath. So this city was like a mining town at one time, and the mine caught on fire and supposedly is still sort of burning under there. So most people have left the area, and like a lot of it, the nature has reclaimed it.
Yeah.
People say that you can see like smoke out of the cracks. When I was there, I did not see it. But yeah, supposedly things are still burning under there from that fire. So it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
And also a tourist destination. You're like, why would that be a tourist destination? But it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so what's something that you, are you a pretty big traveler then?
I am, yes.
Yeah. What is something that you're really missing about pre-pandemic?
Well, obviously traveling. But having said that, I am going to Greece in 2 weeks, so I'm not
Nice.
missing so much, yeah. But the main thing I think I was missing is, well, meeting with my friends. And so during summer, we would always have friends over and have a barbecue. So, and we couldn't this summer. So I think that's the main thing I'm missing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been seeing friends now, but there was a moment where I was just locked inside. But the
Yeah.
reason I'm going to Jamaica is also I'm getting very antsy. Like I bounce around a lot, for
Yeah.
work and for play. And so I'm just like, I gotta get out of here.
No, I know the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then I've been asking everyone this, but and this will be such news to me because again, I don't have a picture in my mind of someone from Turkmenistan or even what the country is about so much. So, what's one stereotype of either Turkmenistan, the country, or you as
Yeah.
a person from Turkmenistan that you want to try to combat?
Yeah. So I guess it's I don't know if you can call it a stereotype, but the country is not, especially maybe 10 years ago, not many people knew about the country. I mean, some would, but not many. And I used to have this thing at the airport when we, travel, and the airport officials would hold my passport, the Turkmen passport, before I got the British one. They would hold my passport and they'd say, "So which country is it?" And I said, "Turkmenistan." "But yeah, but which is it? Is it Turkey?" "No, it's not Turkey."
Oh my
So yeah, I guess that was, like, oh, it must be Turkey because, it starts the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. It's like you would think that the airport personnel would sort of have a pretty good understanding of
Yeah.
geography, but also, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was quite funny.
Do you see like when you meet new people, and me as an example, I'm all, tell me about Turkmenistan. I have no idea what's going on. Like, what kinds of questions do you usually get asked from people?
Um, to be honest, I think nowadays more people know about the Turkmenistan, so I don't get that many questions about it. But I think if people don't know about it, I would start with, so it's part of ex-Soviet Union, so then people know in which region that is, and then I'll say that it's Central Asia, and we have border with Iran and Afghanistan, so the people can exactly place it on the map.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And again, if you don't want to answer any of these questions, please don't, just pass. But has sort of the wars that went on, or sort of the fighting that's gone on in the Middle East, has that moved over into Turkmenistan?
Not at all.
Okay, yeah.
We don't have
Um,
that because the country is neutral.
okay, I see. And are you guys still pretty well, like allied with Russia then?
I think we are allies with Russia, and I think one of the main reasons is because we sort of depending on them to export our gas because we don't have the Turkmenistan doesn't have its own pipe.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think to be honest, I'm not very political, so I wouldn't know much. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
that's the extent of it.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Which totally makes sense. Especially nowadays, I'm like, can I be less political because I'm uninterested in dealing or talking about this anymore with people because it just gets very
I know.
heated all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so since you're a big traveler, I'll end with, what's your favorite travel story?
I was thinking about this, and I think my favorite one would be so we went to Amsterdam recently, and we took a boat just to go around the Amsterdam, on a canal. And the driver slash guide, he was so hilarious. So he would point at the beautiful church, and he would say, "Do you see that beautiful old church?" And we all go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You probably should Google it." Or he would point at someone on the bridge, and he would say, "Do you see that guy? It's another boat driver. He takes a lot of drugs."
You're like, oh my goodness, what a tour of Amsterdam here.
So yeah, that was so funny. Or he would say, so back in the day we used the canal water to produce our beer. Now we only use it for Heineken export. So he would make these kind of remarks, and it was so hilarious.
Right. You're like, this is not what I expected out of this tour.
Yeah,
This is
I
kind of
know, right?
That's funny. And then have you been to the US before?
I have been, yes.
Okay, where did you go?
I went to Washington, I've been to New York, and I was in Boston.
Ah, nice. Okay, so you've Washington State or Washington, D.C.?
Washington, D.C.
Okay, all right. So you saw like all the monuments and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
nice. Very good. Did you like it?
I quite like it. I like that it was small and very organized, quiet. I don't know, love it.
Yeah, I would never say that about New York, small and organized, but
No,
DC
New
for sure.
York, yeah, New
Yeah,
York is woof, very
yeah,
busy,
totally,
very crowded.
totally. Okay, cool. I think that's about it.
Yeah,
So thank you so much for coming on and talking to me.
no worries. It was a pleasure to meet
Yeah,
you.
that was very lovely.
Hello.
Yes, okay, great. Vidar, is that how you say that?
Vidar, yes.
Vidar, and what about the last name?
Öxendal.
Uxendal.
It's like Öx means axe,
Okay,
and Dal means valley.
very cool. So very Viking, it sounds.
Oh, yes. There was a rock fall on Öxendal today. I was just on the phone with my father. A big rock had fallen down onto his cabin.
Oh my gosh. Jeez, that sounds crazy.
And nobody was
Okay, good. Nobody was hurt then.
No.
Okay. But yeah, so tell me what your experience in Turkmenistan was like.
It was kind of, I don't know, surreal at first. We came from Iran. We did the Iran route. Came from Iran over the mountains and down to Ashgabat. It's like the mountains open up into this big, the country flattens out, so you see the city coming from the mountains. And it was all like white marble, and everything was perfect, big street light poles and everything, but very few people, big roads, perfect tarmac. And so we drove into town to our Airbnb, actually. I think it was the only Airbnb there. Her name was Julianne, spoke perfect English. She had been working on foreign affairs for Turkmenistan, I think. But she was like on the hush, don't be late, and don't tell people you're here. And even though she was on the Airbnb site though, and but she was very, very nice. She told us a lot of useful things about Ashgabat and the country, and about her own past. She had a picture of her with former President George Bush also. So she'd been in some kind of foreign affairs for Turkmenistan. But when we got out into the city, like the old part of the city, it was like a kind of like an old European city. You saw the city was a bit more worn down, and there were cafes, and you could have street food and beers, and so that was really nice. The first night we went out and met some other teams, had some beer and food, and talked and laughed, and it felt like you were really relaxed. You didn't feel that how do you say it, supervised. You didn't feel you had people watching you or cameras, like people living in the big hotels did. They really felt like there was somebody really watching them there.
Yeah, that's super fascinating because so I went on Google Street View and was looking around Turkmenistan, and Ashgabat it's so crazy because it's beautiful. Like there's these great monuments and pristine white buildings and stuff, but
Yeah,
again, very few people, which is not usual when you dump into somebody's picture and stuff. Usually you kind of see a bunch of people around. And then once you get, now granted, there's not a lot of, I think there's no Google Street View routes in Turkmenistan, but people have uploaded pictures. And so once
yeah,
you got out of Ashgabat, you know, it was just dirt roads and it was such a transition.
absolutely. Well, we took a route. We took it the next day. We picked up a guy from England called Steve Mills. He had just turned 30, so this he actually drove a motorcycle 125cc from the launch, but he left it in Romania, and he hitchhiked with different teams through the rest of the rally. So he stayed with us for 2 weeks during all of the stunts. So we picked him up at a hotel, and he had this Lonely Planet book. So he was reading, telling us all the stuff, what's here and there. And we found some hot springs under in some caves under some mountains on the way to Turkmenbasi. It was, I don't know I remember how long it was, but we drove there, and it was about 60 or so meters underground. We hoped that we could cool off down there, but the water was also at 36, 37 degrees centigrade. So it was really hot, but nice. It was like this health spa for the locals and people from Turkmenistan there. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Then later on that day, we drove due north of Ashgabat, and it didn't take long before the potholes grew and the condition of the road worsened. And with these small light cars, you can't really just gun it and float over the potholes as you can with bigger
Right.
cars. So, well, it took time driving north. And I also have another story about Turkmenistan
Okay, yes, please.
to tell you. It was after we left Ashgabat, heading north. We were already a bit late. We were actually supposed to get to the Darwaza, the door to hell gas crater on the 5th, but there were like 80 teams stuck in Baku because one of the Caspian Sea ferries had broken down, or the engine stopped. So there was like this unofficial Mad Hatter's Tea Party at the Darwaza crater on the 5th. So that was cancelled because of all the delayed teams, but we drove up and a bit late, so it got dark when we got up there. And I like maps, and I like watching, looking at Google Maps around. And I was certain when you drive north on that road to Darwaza that the gas crater is on the left side of the road. Well, looking north-south on the maps. So I didn't think more about it. So when we got further north, we saw the lights, big lights out in the desert. Okay, that must be the crater because we were almost here. So Steve was on the telephone, the maps and me offline mode, and we also saw the small trails going out in the desert. So we headed out there. He was flashing his mag light out the window. We didn't have that good light on the car. First, we got to the wrong place. There was some small settlements, some people sleeping out there in the desert, and we saw the gas crater was that way. And we went out of the car. It was like this big roar of like, and we found that's strange. Is the crater that loud? And then we found another road. We drove and drove and drove until we got stuck in the desert road. It was just pure desert sand. But we were really close, so we just walked the last kilometer or so, and we were certain we saw cars and people. Oh, cars and people there. But we were in the wrong place. The flame we saw was this burner burning off excess gas from a oil or gas drilling team drilling for gas. So this was 2 a.m. in the night. People were sleeping outside, inside. Everybody looked drunk. We woke them up one by one, asking them if they could tow us or something. Finally, we got to talk to some like this manager or something. He said, no, nothing worked. We can help you at dawn because none of our vehicles have lights. Okay, so we went back to the car, but on the way back there was this water wagon, like this tanker of water that were on the way out with water to the working crew. So he came back after a while when we were sleeping, and finally he got us towed out after backing into our car once, and finally he dragged us out. Gave him a few dollars, and he was on his way. We were so dead tired, so we just slept there. As soon as we hit tarmac, we just camped and slept.
Oh my gosh.
So that was our Darvasa gas crater experience. The next day we didn't go to the crater. It was light, but then we found where. So maybe next time.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, thank you again so much for telling those stories. I just wanted, a little more clarity on what was going on in Turkmenistan, and since you did the rally not too long ago, yeah, wanted to get you on to tell your story. So thanks so much.
Yes, you're welcome.